$100
of thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, that was all the shit they gonna pay.
The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone.
Choose your destiny.
Get in there.
Well, banking giant J.P. Morgan Chase is under fire today, accused of benefiting from sex trafficking by billionaire Jeffrey Epstein. This after an attorney in the U.S. Virgin Islands filed suit on Tuesday, saying the bank failed to report suspicious activity. According to that lawsuit, human trafficking was the principal business of those accounts that Epstein maintained at J.P. Morgan. The lawsuit accuses the bank of not complying with federal regulators and for failing to make proper regulatory filings that could have tipped the government off to Epstein's alleged sex trafficking ring of underage girls.
Yeah, so the other part of the story is she got fired. Biden went to go visit the Virgin Islands, and then the next day she got fired.
Well, you know, a couple of years ago, they fined the Deutsche Bank $150 million due to the bank's lack of oversight in dealing with Epstein's money.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not the first time a bank has gotten sued over this. Hi.
Yeah, so she was well within her thing. Where is it? I don't see nothing on here. That's crazy. That shows that they're pushing this down because
Asshole.
it happened.
Stop
Did you,
hitting buttons on the computer.
Doc, did you see anything about her getting fired?
Hold on. My cat just kind of locked my shit up.
Because I cannot find
Here
I cannot find a video. I don't remember where I saw that. It should pop up right here. I'm sorry, y'all.
So good, man. Shit.
So, but
hang on as it is.
Yeah, well, just to get you talking, though, what do you think about this?
It's the attorney general that got fired after suing him.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Denise George. Here we go. Radar Online. That's a pretty generic. Give just a second and you'll have it link in your... I'm working on a potato. Bam, there you go.
All right, it's through Facebook Messenger. Freaking yeah, I think this story is interesting. I think we should talk about it. Because everybody is saying like nothing happened, nobody got in trouble. You know, clearly he was, sex trafficking, and they took him to jail for that. But nobody else. Who was he trafficking the girls to? And
well, remember, he's still an alleged sex trafficker. He was never convicted.
Right. My physics acting crazy right now.
Yeah, I mean, we all know, but technically he is not a convicted sex trafficker.
Okay, that makes sense because he died right away as soon as he went to jail. He didn't even have it. They didn't have the time to do no trial. So it says U.S. Virgin Islands.
I think they knew that once he started getting passed around in jail that he was going to talk. So
Yeah, that's
and
my
then
story, and
they
I think
sent
that's
wifey to the country club.
yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. I think, and I said it a long time ago, but it looks like a hit, and a lot of people still looking at it like, okay, maybe he committed suicide, but I don't think so. And they said his larynx or whatever was broken. It was like they send messages like that. It's like you was gonna talk, so you was gonna talk, so they said you was gonna talk, so now you're not gonna ever talk again in this life or the next. So that's what I think would happen. He was connected much bigger people, and those people was like, nah, we can't have this, get out, that we was
She's got
connected to this.
reasonable. She has a ability to distance herself from people because she was just the acquisitions person. She was just on the side. He was in the middle of it. He knew it all. He knew as soon as he went to jail that, hey, he may have hung himself because he knew it was going to be worse for him if he didn't.
I don't think so. I don't think so. And then now you got the conspiracy theories of him that he's not dead and he's in, I don't know, Costa Rica or some shit they were saying. I don't know. I think that's crazy. I think that the guy, they killed that guy. I mean, I don't
Well,
think it was he.
remember, it's suicide. It's still, if it's coerced. I mean, if you're given a rope and told all these horrible, horrible, horrible things are going to happen to people around you and stuff like that, or you could just go out of the way. Technically, it's still suicide.
Right. So yeah. So I could see some kind of scenario like that.
Just
But
like
like, remember the
technically, he's
story?
a not convicted, so he's not a trafficker.
But remember the story?
He
They had him on suicide watch, and it just so happened that the guys wasn't watching them or whatever. And then it was like no video and all of this stuff. Like the guys took a break or went to sleep or some shit or whatever. Like all of that. When I heard the initial story, I was like, that was a hit by real powerful, super, really powerful people.
say find out who bought them Taco Bell for lunch.
Yeah. Let me read this. It says U.S. Virgin Island Attorney General fired after suing J.P. Morgan Chase, accusing bank of facilitating Jeffrey Epstein abuse. U.S. Virgin Islands Attorney General Denise George was fired after suing J.P. Morgan Chase for allegedly turning a blind eye to Jeffrey Epstein's
Hey
sex
man,
crimes.
give that lady her byline, please.
Her by Samantha Bennett, January 2nd, 2023. Yeah. Turned a blind eye to Jeffrey Epstein's sex crimes as he owned a private island in the territory where he abused underage girls. RadarOnline.com can confirm that George accused J.P. Morgan of knowingly providing and pulling the levers through which Epstein's recruiters and victims were paid. So the bank knew, is what they're saying. Human trafficking was the principal business of the accounts Epstein maintained in J.P. Morgan, she stated in the complaint, which alleged the financial giant concealed wire and cash transactions that raised suspicion of criminal enterprise whose currency was the sexual servitude of girls and women in the Virgin Islands. George said the filing on December 27th was the latest ongoing effort to bring accountability to those who helped facilitate Epstein's crime. The explosive 30-page lawsuit is seeking unspecified damages. RadarOnline.com previously learned that estate of Epstein had agreed to pay roughly $105 million to the U.S. Virgin Islands. The amount was to settle claims that the disgraced financier used the territory for his sex trafficking operation. This settlement restores the faith of the people of the Virgin Islands that its laws will be enforced without fear or favor against those who break them. The then Virgin Islands Attorney General shared in a new release, we are sending a clear message that the Virgin Islands will not serve as a haven freaking ads for human trafficking. Reports have since surfaced claiming that USVI Governor Albert Bryan Jr. was upset that George did not notify him about the December 27th suit, which also claimed JP Morgan financially benefited from that participation. A statement on New Year's Day read, I relieved Denise George of her duties as Attorney General this weekend. I thank her for her service to the people of the territory during the past 4 years as Attorney General and wish her the best in her future endeavors, added Bryan. Damn, that definitely sounds like fired. Bryan's spokesman told DailyMail.com that reports claiming that JP Morgan's suit was the reason for George's dismissal were not entirely accurate. The governor's spokesman added, I am not at liberty to discuss details on personal matters. So, of course, they're not going to just say, yeah, we fired her because of the suit she did. So, like, we could speculate and be like, well, maybe it was something else. Let me see. It says,
Shay, we have come to a point to where we are heading different directions, and
exactly.
It would be a good time for you. We feel like it would be a good time for you to reach out and find other individuals who might seek your employment.
you say that well, like you've heard that a few times, or had to say it to people. Yeah, I've heard it a few times. Yeah, I have. Let me read some more. It says, as we previously reported, convicted criminal Epstein was found dead in his cell in 2019 while awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. His death was ruled a suicide. Disgraced socialite Ghislaine Maxwell has since been sentenced to 20 years behind bars for her role in Epstein's crimes. JP Morgan declined to comment amid numerous reports on the lawsuit. Meanwhile, the bank has not yet responded to the allegations in the filing. Is that it? That's it. So, yeah. So, apparently, if you sue the bank for clearly doing some illegal shit, try to hold them accountable, apparently the politician's going to step in and be like, hey, you can't do that. These are our buddies. You know, they cash our checks or they send us checks. They pay for
it's the biggest bank on the island. How else is anyone else going to launder any money? If they start looking into that account, how long before they start looking into the others?
And who knows
or
what else
used
they'll
as
find.
it's used as a precedent set to be able to start calling on the information of other bank accounts of rich people who go there and have fluff palaces.
Because isn't the Virgin Islands already like a safe haven for like your money? Isn't that one of those places where people, if they want to hide money,
it's a territory of the United States.
Yeah, so it's one of the main places that they use to launder money anyways. Like it's one of the places where like if you have money that you don't want to be taxed, that's one of the places it's a tax haven, right?
Actually, South Dakota is the best one we've got, but most people don't really know that except for people trying to hide their money.
Oh, yeah.
You know what's up, right, Pat?
Yeah. That's almost like the new what they called it over Swiss bank accounts.
Yeah.
South Dakota is that of the United States.
Yep.
And so, but then they have other ones out there where they put the money. So I don't know. So so if it's already set up criminally, or to benefit criminals, then if you try to, there goes the thing we was talking about earlier about the whistleblowers are the ones that get in trouble. It's like, who snitched? She can't be snitching on, this is our business. This is what we do daily.
It depends on what whistle they blow and whether or not that whistle is loud enough to draw attention to something other than what they're blowing it on. They don't mind throwing a few executives under the bus to placate a whistleblower. It's like, crap, man. That's a couple $1 million off of our payroll, and we look like we did a good thing by cutting him loose.
And fuck that guy. I didn't like him anyway.
Exactly. That increases the divide by 1. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
More booty for me.
With his 5 head.
Let me play a little bit of this clip because she's talking about it here.
Oh, shit,
Again?
man. I done gone 8, 16, 32 head.
We're going into our next story here. And believe it or not, yes, Jeffrey Epstein's name is in the news again, even though he is obviously not alive. But this time it has to do with the funding
Epstein, like Frankenstein.
in reference to his sex
Yeah, why did
trafficking
she say
crimes.
it like that? Is that the way you're
Now, the
supposed to say
Virgin
it?
Islands have been pretty outspoken recently, and they are not happy with JP Morgan. Let's see why. Epstein's sex trafficking was aided by JP Morgan, a U.S. Virgin Islands lawsuit says. So now we have the Virgin Islands is trying to sue JP Morgan. And by the way, this is not their first lawsuit. JP Morgan has multiple lawsuits. People have come after them, but this one in particular is very telling. Let's go ahead and get into this. Okay. The U.S. government, the government of the U.S. Virgin Islands alleges in a lawsuit filed this week that JP Morgan Chase turned a blind eye to evidence that disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein used the bank to facilitate sex trafficking activities on Little St. James, the private island he owned in the territory until his 2019 suicide. So, just to be clear, it is not just that he had a bank account with JP Morgan. He specifically used JP Morgan, that bank, to facilitate his sex trafficking activities.
And you know what I think about? I think about Kanye West. And Kanye West just made some comments, and they closed his accounts, kicked him out, talking about you got to bank with somebody else. And this is Chase, the same bank. So they can deal with you sex trafficking underage people, but if you say something, about a certain demographic in a derogatory way, then we can't fuck with you.
So R. Kelly probably has a Chase bank account.
I would not be surprised. I mean, Chase is like, it's really a monopoly with the banks anyways. It's only a couple of them. Almost everybody got